Ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome to Congratulations, You're a Twit. It has been quite a while since we've done one of these episodes, but basically what we do is we look at remarkably ill-advised plays, positions, weird things done in-game, and then I, using the benefit of my 30,000 games of War of the Tanks, elaborate on why they are stupid and what should have been done instead, in the hope that we can prevent stupid things like what we're about to see from happening in the future. So, let's get started. So let's take a journey back in time. Kharkov, with myself and Tom in our aesthetically pleasing KV5s. Now, you know this game is from quite a while ago because after the innovations of late, driving KV5 without an SCM50T or two firmly shoved up its rectum is nothing short of sacrilege. Just ask the Patreon. Which one do you want?
Go Patreon.
Oh my word, this is gonna be violent, lads!
Guns on the Basante.
My Christ! Holy shit! And if you haven't seen that clip, my god, click the link in the description. In any case, we're not actually going to be the center of attention in this particular replay. No, that honor goes to this AMX M451, a bona fide average player driving one of the best tier 9 heavy tanks in the game, who is going to counter the advantage of being a top tier heavy in the city map by doing something inordinately stupid. Now, as we're meandering up to this flank, I'm of course taking stock of our perceived advantages. We got here an E50, a Carnarvon, an IS-3, an AMX M451, and a 30 and a transvestite in 2 KV5s. Point being, it is highly likely that we can overmatch this flank. Well, right now I can't read that based on what's spotted on the enemy team. The location of heavy tank combat on Kharkov is generally spread out in these areas. However, right now our entire heavy tank force is pushing this one point. Therefore, it's logical to assume that the enemy have at least one or two of their heavies watching this area. Therefore, I'm pretty damn sure we have a numerical and tactical advantage to exploit here. At the outset, it seems to go well. We're pushing as a solid unit, our team is tossing blind fires at the popular camping location as me and Tom push forward to claim more ground. Now, as we move on here, you'll notice my positioning is somewhat poor. This is in light of expecting more enthusiasm from the team behind me than I eventually got, but I should be further out wide while engaging this IS-22. That would cut off line of fire from this angle. But this is where it all goes horribly wrong. Instead of pushing together, focusing fire and rifle stomping, our E50 for some reason turns around and YOLOs out into a massive crossfire and dies, and our AMX does one of the dumbest things imaginable. Instead of using his hit points and brilliant frontal armor to press and claim this position, digging out the campers and allowing us to claim advantage, which is what me and Tom expect, to the point that Tom starts moving aggressively forward to use his health with the AMX. No, the AMX presumably sees the IS-22 behind him, immediately soils himself, and proceeds to drive out ass gaping in the wind directly in front of the line of fire of the guys he was not a minute prior to this moment popping blind fires out. And he sits on this corner to fight the IS-2. Yeah, this corner. The one that the area he was blind shotting at is literally there to shoot at. He doesn't go around the corner and kill the half-health tier 8 heavy tank, giving him cover from the guys behind him. No, that would be somewhat logical. Of course, I'm left here staring in absolute disbelief at what I'm witnessing. Me and Tom spent our entire tanks investing in a flank on which we had a clear and pleasant advantage, only for the AMX to redeem his potent pinhead coupon for a 1,900 hit point colonoscopy. I to this day don't get it. The man took blind fires at the camping position that eventually gave him a new exhaust option. So after having taken the risk of driving out arse first in front of that position, then sit right in their line of fire is a level of obtusity I'm really privy to. Here's hoping that he learned something from his rather violent, preventable demise, but I somewhat doubt it. So this one is truly remarkable. I've been quoted before as telling people to angle, or in extreme cases, to wangle. In this game... El Heluf, a tier 10 battle leg here in the Object 705A, platooned with Hetty in the mouse. Must be feeling fairly blessed, granted with a 25-7 matchmaking in a tier 10 platoon, rare indeed. However, perhaps any feelings of contentedness are being swiftly offset by the 3 SPGs. That's the ingredients for engaging gameplay stew right there. So, off up to the northwest of the map to get into a heavy tank fiasco, haggling hit points like the currency that they are, and breaking records with a whole 2 points of spotting damage. And I must say, with 3 RT in play, one of which being an Object 261, I would not be going anywhere near this corner, from either side, in rightful fear, poor game mechanics defecating on my attempts to play the video game. Perhaps derailing that very same train of thought though, Leg looks to his right, only to discover that his mouse friend appears to have developed a minor issue. Brushing aside the immediate questions that spring to mind, like how did you even manage that, you half-witted dunderhead, the AMX and Leg here make valiant attempts to guide him. However, unfortunately, this is very much an all the king's horses and all the king's men situation. Only Hetty isn't an egg. He has, however, laid one. And eventually, Leg resigns himself to the fate of his mouse friend and moves on to help his team. Alas, after putting a few shots in, it becomes abundantly clear that this is not going well. So he does what any logical person would do in this situation. He returns to his 200-ton German gun emplacement and Breath of the Wilds it into position. Returning to combat, he picks up the T-34 with a nice shot into the roof, overmatching the remarkably thin armour found atop that premium American heavy. The mouse picks up the T-34 frickin' lol, and the clan wagon careens around the corner, hoping to flank Leg here. A tracking shot, however, fails that particular ambition. The enemy are eventually gonna get the idea of pressing round the helpless mouse, but how's this for a sequence of events? Leg here is repeatedly ramming the clan wagon, puts his shot into the Conqueror, kills him, rams the clan wagon to death, the mouse sets the T-95 on fire as it's flanking him and it dies too. I mean, you already know they're gonna cog this up, but it's like watching a Bond film. You know they're not gonna die, but it's really enjoyable seeing how. The IS-20 of course backs off, as opposed to going round literally any direction. The pattern in a little while gets violated by game mechanics, and the ST-1 still decides that the mouse is a priority to shoot at, which he may be right about, because Leg in just a moment is gonna push the mouse to the perfect angle to absolutely ruin this IS-3. That's just special. The STI again shoots the mouse, allowing Leg to come round, cutting off his shot, blocking to save his friend more damage. He angles the STI out, bounces his shell, and sends him back to the garage. I don't know what I can say. I don't know how the enemy team bollocks that up. Not one of them decided to flank. No one focused fire. The mouse got 3 kills while it's sexually identified as a Tetris block. How did the enemy team let that happen? It's like losing a game of football to someone with broken legs. It was funny though. Malinovka. Where we, courtesy of Lazio here in the 87, are going to learn the definition of insanity. Insanity is, of course, not subscribing to doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, of which the enemy team in this game are a stupendous example. You would think that upon shooting at a tank repeatedly and failing to do any damage whatsoever, that they'd have the initiative to do something else with their time, but no. And Lazio here, a man after my own heart, at some point in this battle, he just went, "Fuck it." And he started repeatedly getting deliberately spotted, purely to see how many shells the spectacular cavalcade of imbeciles on the enemy team would waste on him. The answer being 14,000 damage worth of shells. Now, you can add this to the rulebook of War of the Tanks if in any game an 87 blocks 14,000 points of damage, the enemy team were idiots. Additionally, if 3 of your team die to a sideways mouse, you're just complete ninnies. Steps. In an M53 M55, this one brought to you by my good self. Now, artillery players in general, due to the limitations of the class, generally don't display high levels of skill within their gameplay. However, the basics like map awareness and positioning should be even easier for them than any other class in the game, due to having less distractions. In spite of this, upon seeing that our team have no forces whatsoever on this side of the map, I do my friendly arty the courtesy of pinging and telling them to relocate, just in case they haven't noticed the extremely obvious issue. Now, instead of relocating, in order to, survive and contribute to the outcome of the game, the M53 player instead sits on his ass and says this: "You are in one of the most mobile and flexible artillery pieces in the entire game. You know you have no one ahead of you on the flank to protect you. And instead of using your mobility to relocate to a safer position, you decide to berate your team." The CGC at least gets the right idea, bit slower than my good self, but it's good stuff. Now, I believe I was streaming, so I'd be lying if I said I wasn't looking forward to this guy blowing up at this point, and a short while later he gets absolutely demolished by a 268 version 4, resulting in, of course, Do you ever, like, meet someone or interact with someone who's just so boundlessly thick that they're incapable of realizing how stupid they are? It's the same sort of people who end up believing the Earth is flat whilst actually having literally proven that it has a
15-degree-per-hour drift.
Thanks, Bob. Dan was looking for you, by the way. That's the most aggravating thing to me. Not that he did something stupid, because we are all on that list. It's the fact that he blamed everyone else for a direct consequence of his own simple-mindedness. To clarify, if you have no support on a flank, your entire team is on one side, go with your team! Attack! Win! You likely have a very potent advantage there. Go with your team, attack fast, because you know what happens if you do that? You win! Yay! Go you! So, here on Serenian Coast, me and Tom jump on the opportunity to exploit some fairly poorly defended enemy heavy tanks. We stay out at proxy spot range as we flank them, and this allows our emils to eventually push through the flank and secure the enemy base. And later, upon seeing this standard B unload a couple of shells to kill one of the emils, we decide to exploit his now lowered DPM, and we do take him down. Now in this circumstance, we're considering our next move, and we decide we're going to support the emil in any way we can. In endgame situations like this, it's important to lend your support to wherever you think your greatest chance of winning the game lies. In this case, it's our emil 2. So we move to follow him. However, then I catch sight of the Lanson behind us. So I tell the emil to follow us as this Lanson is isolated and should be easy to take down. And the emil just completely bundles it. Just watch this.
Bail out. This vehicle has had it.
One decision. One incredibly asinine decision by that emil squandered any chance we had to win that game. If he had turned and engaged the Lanson, I may still be dead, but Tom would have come in to help. The emil would have had better cover from Artie, the Centurion wouldn't have been able to be holed down, and I wouldn't have to witness such a pure example of fatuousness. Perhaps we should have gone for the Centurion in light of the emil's actions, but the logic of supporting your greatest chance to win is a two-way street. Our best chance to win was in supporting the emil, his best chance was in keeping us alive. So be sure to consider in endgame situations where your greatest strength lies, and support it, and do not go YOLOing off alone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so kindly for watching. I will put a link to the playlist of these congratulations to your Twit videos if you're interested up at the end. If you're interested in some shenanigans, we got stream shenanigans up there. They are hilarious, so do check them out. We stream live on Twitch on the weekends. We get ace tankers, we do memes. It's great fun, so I do encourage you to drop in there as well. Leave a like and a comment. Tell me what you thought of the video. Thank you very much, and fare thee well.